Uh, we all know we have a lot of problems in New York City, and I'm not going to belabor it. But you ask yourself, why isn't more people getting involved? And I'll argue that for somebody that, like myself, that has now been in the process for almost 2 years, it's a very ropey process to get on the ballot. And unless you kiss the ring, whether it be from the Republican side or the Democratic side, they don't want to back you. They don't want to help you carry petitions. And God knows it's very expensive. Ronaldo taught me how to knock on doors, so I take my hat off to you on that as well. We knocked on over 2,000 doors, talking to homeowners, collecting signatures, because even my own party, and I'll say right now, because I didn't kiss the chairman's ring, they did not want to put me on their ballot. But with the strength and by the will of God and the will of the people, I'm here. And this November, I will be the next Common Sense Queens Borough president. So my FU, I'm going to do this moment came, and thank you for that question, was when my home got broken into. I called the police, and it took them what felt like an entire day to respond. Nonetheless, I just said, screw it, I'm going to go to work. The same week, my brother's house got broken into. Same thing happened. This was very frustrating because we've lived in Queens, in this community, for almost 30 years. And in the 30 years I lived in Jamaica Estates, my home has never been broken into. In fact, there was times that we used to leave the doors open. And so when this began to happen, I started talking to my neighbors, hey, are you guys experiencing these home break-ins? Because, quite frankly, I feel invaded, I don't feel safe. And they start to tell me that they've also experienced the same thing, and they've come to normalize it. And frankly, this is not okay. So I went to the Borough Hall when our current do-nothing Donovan Richards was speaking, and I wanted to ask questions as far as why is public safety and the police response time not being addressed? And I wasn't allowed to speak. And I'm from Queens. Everybody know Queens people, man. We don't take no for an answer. I'm not as crazy as Ronaldo is, but I said I'm not gonna take no for an answer. I'm gonna get involved in the process. And thanks to true patriots like Daniel Mayo, Ronaldo, Isaiah, and a lot of other people I met along the way, they helped me with the process, and here I am. But I want to say this to you guys, because sometimes this whole thing is about common sense, right? Have any of you here ever been to the Department of Motor Vehicle? I have. Okay. The conditions in the Department of our motor vehicles, it's so dated. In fact, the Department of Motor Vehicles looked the same way it looked 30 years ago when I started going there. The lines are long, the hallways are crowded, it's just a mess. And the same is true when you walk into police stations. A lot of these officers that work hard, put their lives on the line for us, where they work, it's like a dungeon. And I'm gonna talk about myself a little bit, but these precincts look like they haven't seen fresh paint in years. And the list goes on. Any city project you go into, it just looks like no one's paying attention to it. In fact, I did a town hall the other day where the topic of my town hall was from housing project to home ownership. Because as we went to collect signatures, we went to housing projects just to see what it was like living in these places. And I didn't think I was in America when I went to some other housing project. We went to a housing project in Southside Jamaica, Queens. They call it 40 projects. And I challenge all of you to go there and see how our fellow brothers and sisters are living. This is America, the greatest country in the world. The country that solves crisis all around the world in the Middle East. We're dropping bombs everywhere. We're providing aid, billions, maybe even trillions of dollars. And I argue that we have a crisis right here in Queens, in our backyard. American citizens, some of them veterans, are homeless. Many of them stuck in housing projects in a vicious cycle. grandparents live there, passed it on, and they just stuck in this situation. And we cannot accept this. So something has to be done. The problem we have, it's not just the people. We have a leadership issue. It's not a money issue. We have a leader that is a puppet. Their agenda is screwed. They're not putting the people first place. And my whole thing is, when I'm elected, I recognize that even though I'm not a politician, I'm a problem solver. When you run for office, you become a public servant. And the best politicians are the ones that listen to the people and put their interests first place. People want prosperity. They don't want handouts. They don't want free cheese. And frankly, anything that's ever been given to me that's free has not really been good. So we're not, when I'm elected, we're not doing anything free. We're creating opportunities for people so they can come up. They can go from housing projects into home ownership. They can get a jump start in their businesses. Because you look at what's going on, even in my personal home, my property taxes constantly go up. My utility bills are going up. Every cost of living is rising. But what the city's doing for people aren't getting any better. So they're taxing us with congestion pricing. They're taxing us with speed cameras, squeezing resources and cash out of poor middle-class folks' pockets. But there's no infrastructure improvement to match up with the rising cost everywhere and everywhere we turn. And this is, quite frankly, sad. And so a little bit about myself. My name is Henry IKEZI. And I'm running to be the next Queens Borough president because, frankly, I care about the future of Queens. Queens has given me everything I have, but this is personal for me. I went to aviation high school, where I learned in shop class carpentry. And from that carpentry job is what built the foundation of my career being a real estate developer and a builder. And to this day, I've built over 2,000 homes all across Queens. From Bayside to the Rockaways, to Springfield Gardens, St. Albans. And that's what I've been doing over the last 30 days, building in Queens and cultivating a relationship in Queens. And that's because of the education I got when I was in high school at aviation. We don't see that anymore. The way they're teaching these kids in 4th grade, many of them can't even read on grade level. They're cutting funding in schools. A lot of these kids are leaving school because the meals, I mean, you ask a teacher how they feel about the school food, and it's like, it's ridiculous. And a lot of the campaign we've been doing, we go to schools, we talk to kids, and we ask them, how are you doing? And many of these kids, they complain about the food in school. And because of the food is so bad in school, they'll leave school, go across the street to the bodega to buy a sandwich. And we have a situation where this do-nothing borough president supported the legalization of marijuana, which these bodegas sell. They max them up in candy or what they gummies, vapes. So these kids are going in there, leaving school to have a sandwich because the meals in school suck. And they end up buying these gummies because they wrap them up in these flower, colorful wrappers, and they never make it back to school. And what happens? They roam in the streets, committing crimes, they get locked up. So we see another vicious cycle going on in our community, and no one cares. So I went to Aviation High School where I studied, graduated. The shop class was very useful. If I was elected borough president, I would speak loudly about bringing vocation back to our schools. Many kids that are not academically inclined, they want to learn carpentry, plumbing, electric, especially right now with the world of AI. We can be teaching these kinds of things so that our kids can compete in the future. Crypto, trading, and that sort of thing. So after high school, my mother and father, they were disciplinarians. They believed in education so much, and when I was doing real estate and I had my own office at 17 years old, they said, no, Henry, your brother's a doctor, your sister's a lawyer, no one's gonna leave this family without having a good education. So while I was working, I went to school. I went to the SUNY at Old Westbury, where I got a degree, political science, economics, and law. And I also went to St. John's, where I studied a master's in politics. Even with all that education, I never knew that running for office would be this challenging, this complicated. So what we gotta do is we have to support candidates that really mean well for the city, candidates that are not puppets, candidates like myself that really want to get us out of this slump that we've been in for so long. The borough president that we have currently has now served almost 2 terms, right? He took Melinda Katz's position, so we've seen him almost twice. He's not gonna do anything different. There's no point voting for him again, it's a waste of time. So I urge you guys, my pledge today is that if I'm elected or when I'm elected Queensborough president, I'm going to put the voice of the people first place and bring prosperity back for everyone. Thank you very much. I'm going to be here with y'all. I'll take some questions. And this is a fight for all of us. It's a fight that I decided to head, and y'all are going to empower me to do this.
Is there any questions?
So thank you for bringing things to the table. So number one is the thing is stop overdevelopment, whether it's from Bayside or Northeast Queens or all Southern Queens, wherever you're born and raised in, from Oldham Park to Queensborough or Borough. There's whole Queens Queens there's a lot of prep because of all this development, all something how you would stop that from coming through from Town Fair to Town Park to known scans. And number two, how do you stop gentrification in the downtown community, from Long Island, Jamaica, all the way to Flushing. So because we talk about bringing local hiring, who's gonna benefit to who? That's the biggest problem we face over the past 20 years. So that's another thing we talk about. And third, how do we stop the fracking in the Rockaways? So I've been activist over ever since how we stopped the pipeline from coming through. Since on the whole court and the court, Trump administration, Trump got back, thank God for that. So we need to make sure we stop the fracking from coming through, from happening.
Yeah, I appreciate your question, and I'm going to answer it to the extent that I understand it. But overdevelopment is an issue, and that's why I am not a fan of the city of Yes. It's going to change the characteristics of our beautiful neighborhoods, our historic neighborhoods, and the borough president has the power to speak loudly against things that he doesn't see fit in his borough. And this goes back to what I talked about. You gotta listen to your people. When your people are saying, no, we don't want overdevelopment, you do that, you advocate for that. This borough president that we have now does the opposite. We say no to the city of Yes, he says yes to it because Adams co-signed it. When we say no to the city of Yes because there's a lot of things in there, particularly with these battery farms that they're planting in many places. I've been on rallies where they put in battery farms in people's backyards, and it's hazardous. So we gotta say no, and we have to speak loudly against overdevelopment, particularly in areas that the people don't want it. If there's anybody that knows anything about buildings, it's me. I've been doing it my entire life. In fact, I've only had one job besides my shop class at Aviation High School, and that's building houses. So we're gonna do it responsibly, and we're gonna do it in a manner that is in the interest of the people, creates housing, brings down the cost of housing, supply and demand, and we're all gonna be okay. But I think we have a leadership issue, and we gotta get rid of the present leadership.
Any other questions? Ruben?
It's question day for me. So there's currently a prison being built behind the borough president's office. In the event that the city pivots and decides to go back to Rikers and develop that, what would be your recommendation on what to do with that building that's currently being built?
I think I've spoken loudly about this. Our current borough president and many elected officials were advocating for the closure of Rikers Island. I'm not. I support keeping Rikers Island open, renovating it, and I don't support any plan that's going to bring jails in homeowners' backyards. We work hard enough, we pay high taxes, so we can live in peace. I'm also tough on crime. We should not tolerate crime or incentivize crime in our community. But we as government, we have to do the best we can to create opportunities so that people have a way to earn a living in this borough that is getting very expensive.
What would you like to see done with the building if it doesn't become a jail?
We turn it into affordable housing, put that supply of housing into the market so that the more housing we have into the market, it creates competition and brings down prices. We do it organically.
Any other questions for Henry? Okay, thank you very much, Henry. Again, we wish you success. Okay? Please vote for him. Please vote President on November 4th.
I honestly, I'm humbled to be here. I never thought in a million years, a kid coming from Southside Jamaica, Queens, and running for the highest office, executive office, rather than my bar. I never thought I would be here. But it can happen. And this is an inspiration for everyone that never thought they can do anything. This is possible. My life is an example that if you truly believe in your vision and you mean well for the people, anything is possible. So we're down to the wire, November 4th. Let's vote against the establishment, vote for Henry IKEZI, and let's make a change. Thank you.
Thank you.